Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about minimum spanning tree. So starting with a bit of introduction. So first we try to understand what do we mean by spanning tree. So let's say we are provided with any connected undirected graph. By spanning tree we mean we have to construct a tree out of this graph, and by tree we mean it should be a connected acyclic graph. So given a graph we may have any number of spanning trees possible. So you can see the three trees which are shown here, they are all spanning trees corresponding to the given connected graph. So the property is it should have all the vertices of a graph. So you can observe we have 6 vertices in this graph, and all the three trees they have 6 vertices. And as far as edges are concerned, then since it is a tree we should have only some edges present in this tree. So I may have these edges, or I may have these edges, or I may have these edges. We can pick any, but there should not be any cycle because it should be a tree. So any such subgraph that can be obtained from a graph is known as a spanning tree. And the moment I say minimum spanning tree, then we have to add up the weight values of all the edges which are present in the spanning tree. So if I add up the weight values of all the edges, then we will get some value. So for this tree we will get a cost of 21. We have simply added 6 plus 5 plus 1 plus 5 plus 4. Similarly, if I add up the values of these edges in the second spanning tree of this graph, then we will get 23. Similarly, if I add up the values, I'll get a cost of 50. So out of all the spanning trees possible for a graph, we have to find the one which has minimum cost value. And such a tree is known as the minimum spanning tree of a graph. So today we are going to talk about algorithms with the help of which we can find a minimum spanning tree for any connected undirected graph. And those algorithms are the Prim's algorithm and the Kruskal's algorithm. As far as the application areas of minimum spanning trees are concerned, then you can think about any network. Like it may have a computer network, we have to connect all the points using a LAN cable, or you may think about a water supply network in which we have to put a water pipe in order to connect all the endpoints together. So the motive is the endpoints, they should be there and they should be connected, and we have to minimize the cost of the infrastructure. If you talk about a LAN cable in case of computer networks, then the aim should be we have to utilize as minimum LAN cable as possible. Similarly, if I talk about a water supply, then we have to lay down the pipes. So we have to use minimum length of the pipes so that the network will have all the endpoints connected. In all such kind of applications, we may apply the concept of minimum spanning tree. And there are other practical applications for minimum spanning tree. And minimum spanning tree concept, it is also utilized as a subroutine in a few of the other graph algorithms. So this is all about the introduction. Now looking at the mathematical terms related to minimum spanning tree. So how do we define it? We are provided with a graph G with a vertex set V and an edge set E. The graph G, it is connected as well as it is undirected, and then we have a weight function or a cost function associated with every edge which is present in the graph or the set E. Then what we have to do, we have to find acyclic subset T, which is nothing but the spanning tree, and the property of this tree is it should connect all the vertices which are present in set V. And when we talk about minimum spanning tree problem, which is also known as minimum weight spanning tree, then we have to minimize the summation of the weight values of the edges which are forming the tree T, that is the spanning tree T. The two algorithms which we are going to discuss, they are the Kruskal's algorithm and the Prim's algorithm in order to find the minimum spanning tree in an undirected graph. So we will start with Kruskal's algorithm. So let's say this is the graph for which we have to determine the minimum spanning tree using Kruskal's algorithm. So the steps which we have to follow are, we have to first create a forest of all the vertices which are present in a graph. That is, we have to put every vertex in different tree. And in each iteration, we have to combine two different trees till we obtain a tree which will have all the vertices of our graph. That means we have to create a tree out of these vertices. Right now, they are in separate trees. So, in order to proceed, we will first arrange the edges of the graph in non-decreasing order. As you can see, we have listed out all the edges which are present in the given graph and they are arranged in non-decreasing order. And now in each iteration, we have to combine two trees together. So we will pick an edge. We will check if the endpoints of the edge they belong to different trees, then we will keep that edge. On the other hand, if the two endpoints of an edge they belong to same tree, then we do not keep that edge. Okay, so we will start with the edge GH which has a minimum weight value 1. So right now G it belongs to different tree as well as H it belongs to different tree. So we can keep this H, and after this G and H they belong to same tree. Okay, next we proceed. We will get an edge FG. So again F it belongs to different tree, G it belongs to different tree. So we will keep this edge. Next we have CI. So C it belongs to different tree, I belongs to different tree. We will keep this edge. Then we have AB, again different trees. So we will keep this edge. Then we have CF. Again they both belong to different trees. So keep it. Then we have GI. So G as well as I they belong to same set or the same tree. So we will discard it. That means we will not keep this edge in the minimum spanning tree. Then we have CD. So C and D they belong to different trees. So we will keep the edge CD. Now we have HI. Again H and I they both belong to same tree. So we will not keep it. On the other hand, next edge is AH. We can keep this edge. AH it will be there. Then we have BC. So again B and C they both belong to same tree. So we will not keep BC. Then we have DE. So D belongs to different tree, E belongs to different tree. We will keep it. And then rest of the three edges EF, E and F same set. So discard it. BH. Again BH belongs to same set. So discard it. And then we have DF same set, so we will discard it again. So with this we have completed the execution of the Kruskal's algorithm, and the minimum spanning tree obtained is given by this set of edges which are currently marked in this tree, and the cost is 37, which can be obtained by adding the weight values of all the edges. This is all about the working of Kruskal algorithm, and now we have to look at the implementation. So in order to implement Kruskal's algorithm, we are going to make use of disjoint set data structure. And the idea is all the trees which we were maintaining during the intermediate stages of the Kruskal algorithm, we will assume them as the disjoint sets, or one can also visualize these disjoint sets as connected components in a graph. So when we start the Kruskal algorithm, at that time the total number of disjoint sets or the total number of connected components present, they will be equal to the total number of vertices present in the graph. And at the end, when we terminate the Kruskal's algorithm, at that time the total number of connected components get reduced to single one, that the single component is there, or one can visualize this situation in which all the vertices of a graph they belong to a single set. So starting with the basic operations which are available when we work with disjoint set data structure. So first operation that is available is the make set function. It is simply creating a new set for the element x, and corresponding to each set there will be a representative element which is given by the parameter p or the attribute p. So since there is a single element in the set, the representative element of that set will be x itself. So x dot p will be equals to x, and also a rank attribute is maintained in order to identify the representative element of the set. Then we have another operation, find set. This function, it will return the representative element of the set to which the element x belongs to. So it will keep on checking itself till the representative element is found, and at the end the representative element will be returned. And the find set procedure is implemented using the concept of path compression. So at the time of return, the representative element corresponding to the vertex, it will get updated automatically. Then a union function is there. What this function is doing, it is simply combining the two sets. The set to which element x belongs to and the set to which element y belongs to. We wish to combine these two sets. So accordingly, we will call a link function. So this link function thing, it is simply checking the rank values of the representative elements of the two sets to which x and y belongs to, and whichever is having the higher rank value, that will be treated as the representative element. So we are simply comparing the rank values and updating all the required parameters. So in case we are combining two sets whose representative elements, they are having the same rank value, then we have to increase the rank value of one of the representative element. So these are the basic operations that are available with the disjoint set data structure. Now coming to the Kruskal's algorithm, this function MST Kruskal, it is accepting a graph G and the weight function, that is the weight values which are associated with the edges of the graph G. We have to maintain a set A. This set A, it will have all the edges which are going to form the minimum spanning tree for the given graph G. So initially we started with the forest of vertices. So here we are actually calling the make set function of the disjoint set data structure in order to create sets corresponding to each vertex present in a graph. So individual vertices, they will form sets. So total number of sets will be equal to total number of vertices in the graph. After this, we have to sort the edges of the graph in non-decreasing order based on their weight values. We will use any sorting algorithm at line number 4. After this sorting, we have to pick the edges in non-decreasing order, and then we have to compute the set of endpoints of the edges. So we are calling find set u, which is one of the endpoints of the edge, and find set v, which is another endpoint of the edge. So if both the sets, they are not equal, that means u and v, they belong to different trees or they belong to different sets. So we have to keep this edge. In order to keep this edge, we are performing a simple union operation. We are adding the edge uv into the edge set A, which is going to give the minimum spanning tree of the graph. And after adding the edge to the minimum spanning tree, we have to combine the two sets to which the vertex u and vertex v belongs to. So after this addition, both the vertices, they should belong to single set. And we have to keep on doing this process till we have traversed all the edges which are present in a graph, and at the end we have to return the set A, which will give the final minimum spanning tree. Now talking about the complexity of this algorithm, then line number 1, it is a constant time operation, and then line number 2 and 3 bounded by a factor of total number of vertices present in the graph, that is mod of v, and then at line number 4 we are sorting the edges. We can use any sorting algorithm. So let's say we are using a sorting algorithm with the complexity of n log n. So here the complexity, it comes out to be e log e. And then for the for loop from line number 5 to line number 8, again it is bounded by a factor of mod of e, that is total number of edges in the graph. So if we sum up all these values and discard all the constants, then we will get e log e. And also the other assumptions are the disjoint set data structure which we are using here, it is using the heuristics of union by rank and path compression. So it is the best implementation available so far, and we are also assuming that the graph G, it is connected. So the total number of edges present in the graph, it should be greater than total number of vertices minus 1, and we are also assuming that the total number of edges in the graph, they are less than square of the total number of vertices in the graph. So based on all these observations, the complexity of this algorithm, it comes out to be order of e log v. Next, we will quickly execute this algorithm on an example. So let's say this is the graph we are going to work with. So first we have to do the initialization. So we have taken a set A, which is right now empty, and then we have executed the make set operation on all the vertices. It is initializing the attribute P to the vertex itself, because right now all the vertices, they are belonging to different sets, and the rank attribute corresponding to each vertex, it has to be initialized to 0. And also we have sorted the edges of the graph in non-decreasing order, and we have listed out them here. So we are basically done with the initialization steps from line number 1 to 4. Now we have to execute line number 5 to 8 loop. In each iteration, we have to pick an edge of the lowest weight value. We have to check if they belong to different sets or same set. If they are belonging to different sets, we will add that edge to the spanning tree, and also we will combine the two sets to which the vertex u and vertex v belongs. That is the end points of the edge we are considering. So we will start with the edge GH. So GH, when we execute find set for G, it will return G, and when we execute find set for H, it will return H. So since they both belong to different sets, line number 6 will give us false. So we will add this edge to A, and also we will combine the sets G and H together by means of a call to union function. So if we look at this function union x comma y, so we are giving x equals to G and y equals to H, and then accordingly this function will be called, and the rank of y, that is H, it will be increased by 1, and also the representative to which the vertex G belongs, now it is also updated to H. So with this we are done with the edge GH. Now this process has to be repeated for all the other edges. So next we have FG. So F, it belongs to a set with representative F, and G, it has representative G. So again different representatives are there, so we have to keep this H, and accordingly we have to combine the sets of F and G as well. And then we have an edge CI. Again C, it belongs to different set, and I, it also belongs to different set. So after the execution we have to keep the edge CI, and also we have to combine this C with I. So representative of C, it has changed to I now. Next we have AB. So A and B, again we have to keep the edge and combine the sets. So we have kept the edge and combined the sets also. Then we have CF. So C, it belongs to a set with representative I, and F, it belongs to a set with representative H. So basically they are different, so we have to keep the edge CF, and also we have updated the representative corresponding to vertex I to H. Initially it was I only. Next we will consider the edge GI. Again G, it belongs to set with representative H, and I, it also belongs to a set with representative H. So line number 6, it will fetch false, so we have to discard this edge. Next we have CD. So C and D, they both belong to different sets. The moment we call find set function for the vertex C, so it will call the function find set again, and the return value of this function, it will be used to update the representative corresponding to vertex C. So it will update the representative of C to H now, plus it will combine the set of D with the set of H as well. So these are the two updates that will happen when we work with this H. Next we have HI. So H and I, they both belong to same set. Discard the H. A and H. Next we have AHH. So A and H, they both belong to different sets. So next we have to combine them, and we have to keep the edge AH. So we have kept the edge, and we have updated the representative of B to H now. And then we have BC. So B and C, they both belong to same set. Discard it. Then we have DE. So D and D, they both belong to different sets. So we will combine them and also keep the edge. So we have kept the edge DE, and we have updated the representative corresponding to E to H. And now rest of all the edges E, F, both the endpoints, they belong to same set, so discard it. Then we have B and H. So again same set is there, no change will be there. And lastly, we have DF. So again, same set, no change. So with this, we have completed the execution of the Kruskal's algorithm, and the set A, which we have returned, it is giving the minimum spanning tree, which we have obtained earlier also. And the cost of this minimum spanning tree, it comes out to be 37 again. So with this, we have completed the execution of Kruskal's algorithm. Next, we have to start with Prim's algorithm. In Prim's algorithm, instead of starting with a forest, we will start with a tree having single node. And in each iteration, an isolated vertex will be added to this tree via the lightest edge, that is an edge with the lowest weight value. So at the end, we will get a minimum spanning tree which will have all the vertices present in the graph. So we will maintain a set which will give us the edges of the minimum spanning tree at the end, and also a set of isolated vertices, that means a vertex which is yet to be added to the minimum spanning tree. The set of those vertices, they will be maintained with the help of a priority queue, where priority is decided based on the lowest weight value of an edge via which they can become a part of the tree at that particular moment of time. So let's say for this graph, we started with a vertex A, which is right now a part of the minimum spanning tree, and rest all the vertices, they are isolated vertices. From A, we can reach to B as well as H, but there is no path which is available directly from vertex A to other vertices. So right now we have to pick either vertex B to be a part of minimum spanning tree via weight value 4, or we can pick H to be a part of the minimum spanning tree via weight value 8. But we have to pick the vertex which is connected by the lowest weight value. So the next vertex which gets added to the minimum spanning tree, it is B. Now from B we can reach H, but the weight value of this H, it comes out to be 11. But we can already reach H via weight value of 8. So there is no need to keep this H. Now from B we can reach C with a weight value of 8. So right now we cannot reach C via 8. So we will keep this H. So now we have to pick either vertex H via weight value 8 or vertex C via weight value 8. So we can pick either this or this. So let's say we have picked the vertex C via weight value of 8. Now from C we can reach I, weight value of 2, F, weight 4, and D, weight 7. So now we have 4 options to pick from: H, weight 8, I, weight 2, F, weight 4, and D, weight 7. So again I have to pick the lowest one. So we will pick I and weight value of 2. So next vertex which gets added to the minimum spanning tree is vertex I. Now from I we can reach H, weight 7, or G, weight 6. So there is no connectivity to the vertex G. So we will keep this H. However, now we have lowest value corresponding to vertex H. So we will overwrite this 7 with I to H 7. So now we can pick H via 7, G via 6, F via 4, and D via 7. So again pick the lowest one, that is F will be chosen. Now from F we can reach G via weight value of 2. So this 6, it will be overwritten with 2, and D we have already lowest value 7, and here from F to D we can reach, but the weight value is 14. So 7 will remain as it is, and from F to E we can have an edge of 10 now. So these are the updates. Now again we have to pick the minimum one. So the minimum comes out to be 2 and vertex G. So we will pick G, and from G we can reach H via weight value of 1. So this 7, it will be overwritten with this value of 1. Next iteration it will pick vertex H and weight value of 1. So from H, all edges they are already explored. So we have to pick either from D, weight value 7, or E, weight value 10. Since 7 weight value it is minimum, so we will pick 7 first, and now from D we can reach E with a weight value of 9. So this 10, it will be overwritten with this 9. And in the next iteration we have to pick the single vertex E via weight value of 9. So with this, we have completed the execution of the Prim's algorithm. So we started with a single vertex, and in each iteration, we keep on adding the new isolated vertices into the tree till we have all the vertices of the graph in the minimum spanning tree. So this is the final minimum spanning tree for the given graph. We have just removed all the discarded edges, and the cost again comes out to be 37, which is same as we have obtained with the Kruskal's algorithm. Next, we have to discuss the implementation of Prim's algorithm. As we have seen, we are maintaining a set of edges which are going to be a part of the minimum spanning tree in the form of a set A. So A will have all the edges which will form the minimum spanning tree, and then all the other vertices which are not present in the minimum spanning tree at any moment of time, they will reside in the minimum priority queue, and the priority of a vertex is decided based on the weight value via which the vertex can be added to the minimum spanning tree. So the weight or the priority of a vertex is decided based on the key attribute which is maintained for each and every vertex. And then in addition to the weight value, we are also maintaining the pi attribute of the vertex, which is nothing but the parent or the predecessor node of the vertex u in the minimum spanning tree. One can understand this as we have a vertex u dot pi, and this vertex, it is residing in the minimum spanning tree. The vertex u, it can be added to the minimum spanning tree via this vertex, and the weight value between u dot pi and the vertex u, it is given by u dot t. The minimum spanning tree algorithm, it accepts the graph G, the weight corresponding to each edge of the graph, and R, it will give the starting vertex of the minimum spanning tree. First 3 lines, we are simply initializing the key attribute or the weight attribute corresponding to the vertex to infinity, because right now we don't know the distance values between the vertices, and correspondingly the parent attribute of all the vertices, it has to be initialized to nil. And since we know we have to start with the vertex R, so corresponding weight value, it has to be initialized to 0, and its parent, it becomes nil only because we are starting with the vertex R. So there is no vertex which we have visited before R. And then at line number 5, we are creating a min priority queue for all the vertices which are present in the graph, and the priority is decided based on the key attribute of all the vertices. Based on the understanding of the minimum priority queue, we know that the root of the queue should have a vertex with minimum weight value. So definitely the root of the minimum priority queue, it should be the vertex R or the starting vertex which is provided in the form of vertex R. So once we are done with the initialization, we have to simply perform the deletion operation in the priority queue. That is, we will extract min. This will delete the root of the minimum priority queue. And now we have to scan the adjacency list corresponding to the deleted vertex from the queue. And then we have to update the weight values of all the vertices which are adjacent to u, which is the vertex we have just deleted. So if the weight value of the vertex u and its adjacent vertex is less than the current weight value of the vertex, then we have to update the weight value as well as we have to update the parent of the vertex. At line number 11, we are actually updating the weight of a vertex. That means we are actually calling the decrease key function of the min priority queue in order to update the existing key value. So accordingly, the priority queue, it will be updated. So at the end, when we are done with the algorithm, the set A, it will have all the edges which are forming the minimum spanning tree, and the priority queue, it becomes null. You might have observed that we are not updating the set A anywhere in the algorithm, because the same set, it can be obtained when the execution of the algorithm finishes by means of the pi attribute of all the vertices. So now we are going to execute the algorithm on an example. So we are going to take the same graph which we have considered till now. So this is the graph, and now we are going to make use of adjacency list representation of the graphs. This is the corresponding representation. So now we are going to work with this representation and the algorithm. Let us assume that we are going to start with the vertex A. So first we have to do the initialization part. These are all the vertices. We have initialized the pi attribute of all the vertices to nil, and the distance or the key value or the weight value, they are all are initialized to infinity except the single source vertex, that is A. So we are done till line number 4. Now we have to create a min priority queue for all the vertices which are present in the graph. Here we will generate a priority queue, and we know that it is a minimum priority queue, so the root should have the minimum value, so which is nothing but the starting vertex. Next we have to start with the execution of the while loop. So we will first extract the min. Vertex A, it will be extracted. Accordingly, the heap will be updated. And now we have to scan the adjacency list corresponding to vertex A, which we have just deleted from the heap. Adjacency list of A, it has two vertices B and H. So the new weight value corresponding to vertex B is 4, and it is via vertex A. And if we look at the old value, then it is equals to infinity. So 4 is less than infinity. We will do the update. We have reduced the weight value of B from infinity to 4. So accordingly, the heap, it gets updated, and also the pi attribute corresponding to B, it is updated to vertex A. And now we have vertex H, again infinity and 8. 8 is less than infinity, so we have to update the weight corresponding to vertex H, and thus the priority queue, and the pi attribute corresponding to vertex H. So with this we have completed the execution of the adjacency list corresponding to vertex A. Next again we have to iterate, that is we have to perform extract min. So next extract min, it will give vertex B because B was initially at the root. Now we have to consider the adjacency list corresponding to vertex B. It has first vertex A. So A, it is not a part of the heap anymore. So we have to do nothing. Next we have vertex C. Its new weight value is 8 and previous weight value it is infinity. So we have to update the heap by means of the decrease key function. Also the pi attribute corresponding to vertex C, it will be updated to B. And next we have vertex H, whose new value it comes out to be 11, and the previous value it is equals to 8. So there is no need to perform any update. So next we have to perform extract min again. So H will be deleted from the heap, and now we have to consider the linked list corresponding to vertex H. It has A, which is not a part of a heap. Then it has B, again not a part of a heap. Then we have G, its weight value it comes out to be 1. So we will update this G comma infinity to G comma 1, and accordingly the pi attribute corresponding to vertex G, it will be updated to H. Next we have I, again infinity and 7. 7 is less than, so the corresponding update for the vertex I will take place, and the pi corresponding to vertex I, it will be updated to H. Next we have to perform extract min again. So it will delete the vertex G from the min priority queue, and then we have to scan the linked list corresponding to vertex G. It has F, whose weight value is 2. So infinity, it will be updated to 2 now. So F will be moved to the root of the priority queue, and accordingly the pi attribute corresponding to F, it will be updated to G. Next we have H, but H, it is not a part of a heap anymore. Next we have I comma 6 and I comma 7. So 7, it has to be updated to 6, and the pi attribute corresponding to vertex I, it also has to be updated to vertex G now. So these are the two updates. So with this we are done with another iteration of the while loop. Next extract min will delete F from the heap, and the linked list corresponding to F, it has vertex C and weight value 4. So this C comma 8, it will be updated to C comma 4, and C will have new pi value of F now. Next we have D comma 14. So again D comma infinity, it will be updated, and pi corresponding to D, it will be updated to F. Next we have E comma 10. So E comma infinity, it will be updated to 10. Accordingly the heap gets modified, and the pi corresponding to E is also modified. Then we have G, but G, it is not a part of a heap, so there is no need to do anything. Next extract min operation will delete C from the heap, and the linked list corresponding to vertex C, it has B, not a part of heap. D, yes, it is a part of a heap, and its new weight value, it comes out to be 7. So this D comma 14, it will be updated to D comma 7. Accordingly, the pi attribute of D, it will be updated to C. Then we have F. F, it is not a part of a heap. However, the vertex I, it is still in the priority queue. So I comma 6, it will be updated to I comma 2, and pi corresponding to I, it will be updated to C. Next extractment operation will delete I, and the linked list corresponding to I, it has C, G and H. All the three vertices, they are not a part of a heap. So we have to do nothing. Next extractment operation will delete D from the heap. So we have to scan the linked list corresponding to vertex D. It has C, E and F. So out of these three, we have only E, which is present in the minimum priority queue, and its weight value, it comes out to be 9, and previous weight value, it comes out to be 10. So this 10, it will be replaced with 9, and pi corresponding to E, it will be updated to D. And after this, the last extractment operation will extract E, and now the linked list corresponding to E, it has two vertices, but the priority queue, it is empty now. So no update will take place, and with this, the while loop, it finishes its execution. So once we are done with the execution, we have to get the edges of the minimum spanning tree. So we have to keep this vertex pi pair for all the vertices except vertex A, or the starting vertex. So we have the edges BA, CF, DC, ED, FG, GH, HA and IC. So these are the required edges, and when we plot them using the graph and the weight values, the graph which we obtained will look something like this, and its cost, it again comes out to be 37. As far as the complexity of Prim's algorithm is concerned, then depending upon the implementation of the priority queue, the complexity will vary. If we are using a normal binary heap, which we have discussed in this course, then complexity, it comes out to be order of E log V. However, if we use other implementation of the heap, then complexity, it will change. Thank you.